Father Paul, just in case anyone thinks I'm trying to lure you into breaking some sort of vow of silence by asking you a question, you can speak, can't you, Father?
Well, I wouldn't be much of a spokesman if I never spoke.
Catty! I like that. Why is it that monks love silence so much?
We all need silence, and it's harder to find in the modern world.
Yes, what one thinks is silence is often not, because you listen a little harder, you can hear the beep of a truck reversing, or in the still of the night, what one thinks is a neighbour's baby crying, but in actual fact it's two foxes making love with one another.
I suppose the only place one can find true silence would be outer space.
Hence the phrase, in space, no one can hear you scream.
From Alien.
Yes, I remember when I first saw that, I thought, finally, a movie that acknowledges the fact that sound cannot travel through a vacuum. I bet you guys would love a vacuum.
It'd save the brothers having to sweep the floor.
There's that cattiness again. I mean, you're clearly a character. You definitely are.
From a Christian perspective, silence is a way of forming a deeper bond with God.
Although some young Christians use noise in much the same way that sirens of Greek mythology would lure unsuspecting sailors onto the rocks, the young Christians will sing hymns whilst banging a tambourine, and in the confusion, you end up believing in God.
Well, every individual has their own way of communing with God, but that's not to say that silence is purely religious. I mean, it can work wonders for your mental well-being. Why don't we try it right now? 1 minute.
Okay.
The footage you're watching has been sped up. Current BBC programming guidelines prohibit on-air silences over 30 seconds in duration, except for state funerals like Diana's or Springwatch. While greater flexibility is permitted for BBC's 2 and 4, BBC One viewers are thought to benefit from content with frequent noises.
There's your minute.
Life as a monk begins at sunrise. As we quietly dwelt on our relationship with the Lord, it occurred to me that God, all-knowing, invisible, and all around us, is identical to high-speed Wi-Fi, which I know for a fact that they have at the monastery. I wondered what these men might have been before they found God. Can you read a man's story in his face? I believe you can. If I had to guess, I'd say this monk was quite high up in ICI. This monk also worked for ICI, but in a more junior role. I don't have any ideas about this monk. And this monk briefly joined the band D-Ream after Brian Cox left to become a scientist. I decided to stroll the grounds and soon found myself walking like a monk, hands behind my back, nodding at passers-by, a smile as my resting face. But smiling constantly starts to make your face ache. I wondered if it felt the same for Holly Willoughby. Although the Bible doesn't mention potted plants, monks absolutely love them. But when I lent a hand, I began to see a very different side to these brothers. You see, silence can be a kindness. It can show courtesy to a fellow clay pigeon shooter. But anyone who's driven home with their wife after a row at a party will know that silence can be used as a weapon. Could the monks have been doing the same? It amused me to imagine I was in an institute full of angry wives in big brown dresses. But the more they pretended not to see me, the more I wondered if it was intentional. And when a sprightly monk snatched my pot, I became convinced they were trying to break me. Perhaps they were tapping Morse code messages to each other on plant pots, like, why isn't this new man wearing brown? Let's pick on him till he either cries or cuts his hand.
Now, we've all seen it. A teenager near a window asking Siri what the weather's like.
A taxi driver using his phone to calculate your change after you've given him £20 for an £18 fare. Clearly the change is £2.
But is our addiction to technology actually making us less intelligent?
To gauge the public mood, we cross to Simon Denton with a slightly expanded role, sifting through your texts, tweets, and now live calls.
Howdy.
Howdy. So, yeah, bigger role, more responsibility.
Yes, indeed. Finally got that promotion, Ma.
Same money, though, I think.
Yeah. So, we've been asking, have we lost good old-fashioned British common sense? Eustace says pick up bits of broken glass by pressing a slice of damp bread against the floor.
Very good tip. I've done that myself.
Yes, just remember to bin the bread afterwards.
Which I didn't do. Yes, my lips were lacerated.
Oh, dear.
My then girlfriend wouldn't kiss me for a week.
That must have been difficult.
Well, you could do other stuff.
Someone else who says, I avoid pet odours in my home.
Yeah, that's more of a housekeeping tip. You know, we're really asking a slightly deeper question about the way we live now. You know, have we lost something?
Yeah, totally. So Anita says, if you've lost the end of a roll of sellotape, but you're saying you mean sort of lost something in society, as a society.
Yeah, so the ones you selected, are they all just housekeeping tips?
Yes, the tweets are.
Right.
We could take a phone call.
Let's do it.
Calls are under social, and then... No, not social.
Stay calm.
Hang on, I've got it here. Live, and then phone.
Right, there are 3 phones.
Just put phone. No. Yes, OK, so now I think we have Stephen Tent on line 4. Stephen. Stephen, are you there? Steve? Stephen Tent on line 4. Go to... Steve? Go to emails?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Bear with me.
I wish there was a bear with you. You'd probably make a better job of it than you. Seriously, mate.
Now, there is a way of getting from here to emails.
You make it sound like Fort Knox.
Fort! Stephen Fort. It's not Stephen Tent on line 4. It's Stephen
It's Stephen Fort on line 10. Right.
Well, let's go find him. Come on, then. What's all the fuss about now? Let's go. Come on, let's travel. Stephen Fort on line 10. Just missed him, I think.
Here's what we've got coming up for the rest of the show. Oh, Ruth, sorry again for the misunderstanding with your father.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah, it's just that I had not seen him in the studio before, and the reason I said I thought I told you to wait in the car was because I mistook him for my Uber driver. I don't know if you know, but the picture they show on the app, it's quite small.
To be honest, I quite enjoyed watching you squirm.
Hi, Ruth.
She never gives me a bloody inch, this one.
Going live in 5, 4.
Welcome back.
Now, as part of our crackdown on crime season, today we're looking at punishment. Yesterday, we heard your views on the return of flogging. But today, is mass imprisonment still good policy? Ruth Duggan joins us to tell us about a very different approach.
That's right, Jenny, because for the last 24 hours, Alan has been wearing an electronic tag. Voluntarily, I should add.
Yes, you should, if you don't mind.
Sorry, wouldn't want to cast you in a bad light.
Yeah, don't do that, we'll get letters.
Yeah, seriously, some people just don't like it.
So, Ruth, tell us about the tag. How does it work?
So tags allow probation services to monitor compliance with home detention curfews.
Essentially, if you aren't home when you're meant to be, it raises the alarm.
Not quite right.
OK.
The latest tags, like the one you wore, monitor all of an offender's movements 24/7 using GPS.
Right, I see. I thought you told me...
Allowing us to track all their movements in real time or call up anywhere they've been over the last 24 hours.
Wow.
Right. Something civil liberties groups might well take issue with.
Yes. So this is your movement map for the 24 hours that you wore it.
OK.
And we can see that you made a few excursions during the day, starting with a trip to a swimming pool between 10 and 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Put in a few lengths.
Well, we know from the pool's website that it was water aerobics from 10 till 11.
Yes, this week I did do that.
Then there was a visit to Svensson Cosmetic Solutions. Is that a clinic? You were there for an hour just after 2 p.m.
No idea.
Well, we know you were.
No idea.
But it was you who went there. You don't remember?
Nothing.
It was yesterday, Alan.
That's something a probation officer might flag.
Hair clinic?
Likewise, your next stop, a visit to a clothes shop.
Ah, yes. McGovern's of Norwich, Gentlemen's Outfitters. They made me a pair of twill pleated notchback trousers for the Goodwood Revival Festival, which I needed to get fitted with an elastic waist. I'm afraid when it comes to my battle with my waistline, I'm waving the white flag. Not too self-conscious to admit that, you know, which proves I wasn't trying to conceal anything earlier.
You went back and forth to the Gents Outfitters 16 times.
That's correct.
Which, again, a probation officer would query as it might imply illicit activity.
Or even indicate mental health issues.
Could do. I mean, I do 10 Sudokus a week, but yeah, could do.
Well, you can see how it looks odd.
Not really. I went to town to drop my trousers off, then it started raining, so I ran home, then I remembered I'd driven into town, so I ran back to the car park for my car, but realised I'd left my parking ticket at home. So I went back home to get my parking ticket, but couldn't get in because I left my house keys in the car. So I walked back to the car, got the house keys, walked back home, went in, got the parking ticket, walked back into town for the car and drove it back home. Then McGovern's called to say my trousers were ready. So drove back into town, got the trousers, but I realised I'd left my wallet at home, so I couldn't leave the car park again. Walked home, got my wallet, then walked back to get my car, but I left my car keys at home. So then I walked back to the car and drove home. Then I realised McGovern's had given me the wrong trousers, so I drove back to town, swapped them for the right ones before walking home.
That means you left your car.
Forget the car, I'm not bothered about the car, I was in pain, my scalp was bleeding.
Ruth Duggan, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
London, the year 2023, and leather-clad renegade Nero Costa is on the run. With the police now able to detect wrongdoing before it's happened by accessing our brains over Wi-Fi for signs of thought crime, police are able to apprehend so-called pre-criminals without trial. My character, Nero Costa, is wanted for the murder of a politician he is yet to even meet.
Viva la revolution!
The stuff there of some dystopian sci-fi movie, currently seeking seed finance and a distributor. In real life, though, with the thought police confined to the Guardian's comment pages, we rely on mass imprisonment to curb crime. But some criminal justice campaigners even take issue with that. Why? Well, in 1971, researchers at Stanford University conducted a prison experiment in which volunteers were given roles as inmates or guards. Within days, the guards had become sadistic and cruel, the prisoners servile and weak, a power dynamic familiar to anyone who stayed with their wife's parents at Christmas. I have personal experience of the kind of damage the Stanford experiment can cause. In 2004, I'm ashamed to say that I took part in a Channel 4 rehash named Loose Screws.
If you ever want to see your kids again, you better start showing some respect! Right, who's next?
The series was never broadcast.
Where's Vernon?
Academics pour scorn on our prisons from the comfort of their leather big chairs. But how many have ever been in a prison? None. Whereas I've come to sample a bit of porridge firsthand.
Not the kind I have for breakfast. Organic oats, linseed, sliced nana, all washed down with piping hot coffee and my tablets. But it's Alan Partridge, I've got permission. But the kind of porridge served at Her Majesty's pleasure, but the only piping hot coffee is the hot coffee thrown in your face by a troubled teenager with a rubbish dad. That's right, Borstal. Tissue, item, semi-used, access key insignia with leather toggle. Chicken shop wet wipes, 5 units.
I didn't want to go to a men's prison, but seeing as the women's prison didn't get back to me, I would be incarcerated here in a youth offenders institute.
For the homeless.
And the cloth?
Why?
To kick off, I spent what seemed like an hour with prison governor Maurice Pelt.
It's about carrot and stick, isn't it? Although you can hit people with a carrot.
He said the boys nicknamed him Strangeways because he used to work there, but I'll let you be the judge.
When these young lads walk through these doors and become inmates, I stand them where you are now, and I say, what?
You blew it, kid.
I say, forget what might have been. 3 words, Alan. 3 words that are banned in my office. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Should have done this, should have done that. You didn't. Could have done this, could have done that. You didn't. Would have done this, would have done that.
You didn't.
No, you didn't.
I liked Maurice. His inspirational shtick could be a little preachy, honed by Sunday mornings spent as a Christian minister. But if he thinks we have a soul inside us, like some sort of holy spleen, where's the harm in that?
Because you know what the prize is, huh? It's the future. What's the prize?
The future.
Wrong, no. Not the future, a future.
As a boy's eye.
Because changing direction is a choice. But whose choice?
Mine.
It slowly dawned on me Maurice was asking questions he knew he and I both knew the answers to, which felt like cheating. Then again, although a bit simplistic for the likes of me,
Where is it?
Behind you.
it was perfect for daft lads.
Target is an Al-Qaeda cell. 4 terrorists are in the building. In addition, they have as many as 4 hostages. Your mission is to recover the hostages. We're in 2 teams. A team led by Danny will secure the perimeter, B team today will include Alan.
Lads.
B team will enter the building through the door on the white aspect. The hostages are being held on the far side of the blue aspect. Any questions?
Sir.
Alan.
Recommend we use night vision capability.
It's 1300 hours, so no.
Copy that.
Questions?
Open door right!
I've got the rear!
Open door left! With me!
I've got the rear!
Open door right! On me!
I've got the rear! Special Forces experts agree it's important to guard the rear.
Partridge, with me!
This was my signal. A gauntlet thrown down. We know eagles dare, but does a partridge?
Left side clear, right side clear, room clear, hold! Did you see that? Did you see that?
Thanks, mate. So, how do you think you did?
Pretty good, yeah, pretty good.
Well, you discharged your firearm correctly, all neat and tidy.
Yeah, I was a sixer in the Cubs.
Right, well, let's have a look at the video, shall we? Yeah, this full shot, what's this stance? You're presenting a very wide target.
Yeah, that's a recognised shooting stance.
Where have you seen that before?
The opening sequence of the James Bond films.
Right, yeah. It's me and the boys are wondering where the hell's he got that from?
And I told you, it's from the opening sequence of the James Bond films.
Yeah. Straight away, I can see a fundamental problem. Your first two shots.
Yeah, double tap, central torso, pretty good.
You've killed a hostage.
Oh, Alan.
Terrorist, unharmed. Hostage, dead. Terrorist, unharmed. Hostage, dead. Terrorist, unharmed. Hostage, dead. That makes 4 unharmed terrorists and 4 hostages killed.
That is suboptimal.
We would call it a catastrophic failure. I mean, why did you shoot this guy? This is an Islamic terrorist cell. This guy's clearly a Sikh.
Oh, come on, I mean...
Do you know many Muslims that wear turbans?
Sinbad the Sailor?
Catastrophic failure.
Well, wait a second. I was charged with incapacitating 4 targets and recovering 4 persons, which, to be fair, I did do. The only twist was...
that you saved 4 terrorists and killed 4 hostages.
Precisely. I mean, that's a good shot.
Now, this one, it's called White Diamond. Perhaps another one of Kirsty Allsop's bridesmaids.
Did you have a drink before you came on?
It's champagne, lime cordial, big slug of Cointreau, white grape juice, and egg white.
Like poached egg?
Oh, no, it's raw.
For God's sake, Rosie.
What?
You can't eat raw egg. It's a raw egg,
No,
Rosie.
it's a common ingredient.
Sorry, just a disclaimer. Please don't try this at home. Rosie's attempted it here, but in controlled conditions, with first aiders on hand. Please, cook your eggs. Be safe. Be egg safe.
Rosie, let me pick your brain. Because me and my mum, we always go to Queen's for the tennis.
Like this one.
The first cocktail afternoon of the summer. What would you make for that?
It'd have to be a rosemary champagne fizz. So gin, grapefruit, and champagne. It's English, it's fun, it's summer.
Those are the new cocktails, but what about the classics? Rosie, what do you think is the most popular cocktail in Britain?
Espresso martini.
Alan, what do you think?
Mine's gone blank. Shandy.
Well, we hit the streets of Nottingham to find out which came out on top.
And we're off.
That was great. Oh, really, it's okay.
Smells of stuffing. Oh, it's you.
Just to say, I've looked into the annual report, yes. And it turns out Jenny earns slightly more than you.
Okay.
It's to do with the way the deal is structured. It's an accounting quirk.
Okay.
It's only about £200, but it just means she's higher than you in the list of the BBC's best paid presenters.
Okay.
You okay?
Okay, I'm okay.
So you're in a bit of a pickle. You want more, but you don't want to complain because women have got a bit big for their boots.
Yeah, all right, Lynn, that's for the car, but thanks for the intel. Have a white sparkle.
Okay, places, people.
You like egg, don't you?
And we're back in 5, 4.
So there we have it. The mojito is Britain's favourite cocktail. And Rosie, you're making us one to end the show.
I am. Now, the secret to a good mojito is not to overdo the mint. So, it's lime juice, sugar, a little mint, they're already in the shaker.
Go on, make it then.
And, yes, a handful of ice and a good slug of rum.
Oh, I love rum.
And then you give it a good shake.
Stop looking at me.
Certainly gave that what for.
Would you like to have a go,
No,
Alan?
not me. I never know where to look when I do that sort of thing. It requires a certain kind of confidence that, for whatever reason, I don't have. That's why I don't play the maracas. Give it here. All right.
Stiff.
It's loosening.
Very stiff.
Have you got it?
All right.
Okay. Take me, take it. I don't know why I did that.
Rosie, thank you very much for joining us. That was great.
It was great. It was really great. What are you doing with my jacket? Sorry for bollocking you before about the raw egg thing. But don't do that again.
Oh, and I believe Simon has an email. Simon.
Imagine two things you enjoy. Great individually, but put them together and you get something quite special. Strawberries and cream, egg and bacon, yawning and scratching, Johnson & Johnson, Charles and Camilla. But what about drugs and sex? This is chemsex. Chemsex is a compound word. Chem derived from the word chemical and sex from the word sex or sexiness. Confined largely to the gay community, it emerged around the year 2010.
A time of unrestrained glee as a nation dared to believe the nightmare of a Labour government could soon be over. And as revellers lost their minds to the sound of Keane and the Black Eyed Beans, little wonder that the hedonism spilled over into sex and drugs. The primary drugs involved in chemsex are crystal meth, GHB, ketamine and mephedrone, a dose of which, under controlled conditions, I was about to take myself under the watchful eye of pharmacist Dr. Raj Prasan.
Now, do you say MCAT or meow meow?
I say mephedrone, its chemical name.
Right. I like to say meow meow. You're going to administer this drug under controlled circumstances, and then I'm going to gauge its effects.
You're going to play guinea pig.
Right. That wasn't explained to me. I've never played that.
I mean, in terms of the experiment.
Oh, right. Sorry. I thought it was some sort of gay sex game. Yeah. Mind you, I'm not sure a man can squeal like a guinea pig, can he?
I'm just a pharmacist.
Right, yeah, because you're the chem of the chemsex, yeah. So Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you're the Dr. Chem, and Mr. Sex, we've yet to meet.
I'm just a pharmacist.
You said that. You said that. So, you give us the drugs. Well, it's 30 minutes later, and I don't feel especially different. Certainly, the thought of grinding myself against a stranger in a Holiday Inn is far from my thoughts. Yeah. Well, it's over an hour later. I've been told that one eyelid has drooped. I don't feel that much different. Am I in the mood for dancing? Absolutely. Do I feel sexy? Barely. Although I do have the sensation of wanting someone else to brush my hair.
It's said the experiment replicates exactly the sensation of recreational drug use. Although instead of being surrounded by revellers, chewing gum and asking if you're having a good time, my only companion was a bearded doctor drinking coffee and reading a magazine.
Well, the effects have completely worn off. My main recollection is an overwhelming desire to put on my comfy pyjamas and watch Tarzan. Is that sexy? I've no idea. But it was a very new feeling, and it was a very real feeling.
So, drama therapy. It's therapy that uses role play to help people work through difficult or challenging situations.
Well, like therapy, good drama encourages us to look inside. It helps us to understand our own behaviour and deal with emotional issues.
In fact, Simon was telling me earlier that Aristotle coined the term catharsis to describe the healing we experience through drama.
Hubris, nemesis, catharsis.
Well, it's all Greek to me. Thought I'd do the joke this time, seeing as Simon was being a bit serious.
But what kind of problems does drama therapy help to confront?
It's very versatile. Marital strife, workplace disagreements, psychological trauma. Drama therapy is not always easy. It can be very challenging and sometimes tearful, but it should always feel welcoming.
I think you just described the pub quiz I go to. You see, you should be saying this. Catharsis.
Now, I believe we're going to see some drama therapy in action.
That's right, Jenny. Over here, we have two actors, Daniel and Louise. And in a typical therapy situation, they would play out scenarios that couples can try themselves.
Right.
Now, in this scenario, Louise thinks that Daniel is emotionally closed off, but Daniel feels that as he's getting older, he does need more space. Guys?
And you wonder why we never resolve anything. It's because we argue, and then 5 minutes later, you get upset and I have to back down.
No one's saying you have to.
But that's what happens when you play that card.
It's not a card, Daniel. It's how I feel. Just because you're a closed book doesn't mean I have to be.
What am I supposed to say to that?
You should tell her that... Sorry, that's...
No, that's fine. Do you want to jump in?
Oh, me? God, no.
Yeah, no, please do. Step in for Daniel.
No, it's just... I've not acted for quite a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hadn't realised you'd acted.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just with North Norfolk players, a bit of acting, producing, directing. Most recently, A Few Good Men.
Oh,
so,
amazing. What part did you play?
The Jack Nicholson role, so
Ooh.
yeah, a bit of a tough act to follow, but I just tried to do it sort of, you know, like the truth. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, so I sort of went higher, and then I did the scoff at the end, which I don't think Nicholson thought of. So,
Well, how would you feel about having a go at this scene?
yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh, great. OK, Daniel, you step out. Louise, you're in the kitchen, you're making dinner. And Alan, start a conversation when you're ready.
OK.
Don't overthink it.
OK, yep, right. Smells good.
It's just spag bowl.
I didn't mean the dinner.
Well, you never normally come in till it's cold. I'm sorry to go on. I just don't want you to feel like I'm complaining because I want to spend time with you.
Hey, baby girl. Just been out on my bike. My motorcycling's important to me. You know that. But you know the best part of the journey? Riding that steel horse back home to you.
Try it without the accent.
Me or her?
You.
OK, but the general direction...
Forget all that. Both of you sit at the table.
OK.
Now, let's just pretend that she's your actual wife.
Yeah. Look, I wish I could spend more time with you.
See, I hear you saying that, but I don't feel it.
Then we'll figure something out, but you're going to have to stop going on at me. I'm sorry if I've got a gift that people enjoy and I find very satisfying. I'm sorry that you don't have that because for some reason God didn't give you any talent.
Shall we stop there?
Yeah, that felt good. Quiz. One of these people spent World War II sewing uniforms, the other flying Spitfires. So, which was which? The answer will surprise you. The seamstress, this man, who got into sewing rather than fighting because he was severely mollycoddled by his mother, and sadly, the poor chap ended up as a softie. The Spitfire pilot, a woman, Eleanor Hartley, who defied convention to help transport military aircraft to wherever it was needed. Because it's an irrefutable fact that without the role played by women in almost every sphere in both civil and military life, the Second World War would have been slightly harder to win. Today, Eleanor is 94 and has very kindly agreed to join us here at Goodwood Aerodrome to return to the wonderful machines that she once flew. Eleanor, thank you so much for joining us.
It's lovely to be here.
A wonderful, wonderful woman to whom we all owe an enormous debt of gratitude. In the end, though, her interview was largely unusable.
Heavy frost this morning.
To learn more, I spoke to a man much better versed in Spitfire history.
Good morning. My name's Alan.
Roger.
And your name?
Roger.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were agreeing with me.
No, just telling you my name.
Oh, I see. Right. Well, I'm Alan Partridge.
Roger that.
Right. And your full name?
That.
Is your name, don't say anything, is your name Roger That?
It turns out the airman, a bit of a character with a love of wordplay, is actually called Paul Wheeler, but he pretends to be called Roger That to bamboozle new trainees. He has also appeared on
I
Countdown.
really didn't do jokes like that because I'm a journalist. Now, Eleanor here, one of the few people left alive who understands what it was like to fly the Spitfire and carry that huge responsibility. What was it like, do you think, for people like Eleanor to carry such huge responsibility?
Well, I don't think anyone was in any doubt as to how integral Spitfire was to the war effort.
I suppose the only way to truly understand the sacrifice made by Eleanor and people like her is for me to put myself in their shoes.
So if the plane gets into trouble, there's no ejector seat, so you'll have to bail out.
Why would the plane get into trouble?
Oh, we just have to give you the bailout procedure.
Okay.
So if the pilot says jump, 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 you lower the seat, you unlatch the canopy, you unplug the radio, open the door, jump away from the plane, and deploy your parachute by pulling the D-ring.
D-ring?
No, D-ring.
Yes, of course.
Now, if you land in water...
Oh, hang on.
Say it again?
Yes, again.
Lower the seat, unlatch the canopy, unplug the radio.
Why not do that bit?
Well, you need to do that bit, otherwise you'll be tethered to the plane and pulled down to earth with it.
Okay, I'll definitely do that then. I'll just asterisk the important ones.
Well, they were all important.
Yeah, I'll asterisk all of them then.
And after a handful of toilet trips, which I'm told is perfectly normal, it was time to spread my wings like the arms of a bird and take off.
Does this say latch or cat?
Can't look right now, sorry.
Can you radio and ask someone?
Not right now.
Okay, but soon.
I was quickly lost in admiration for this plucky little aeroplane, and it was a privilege to climb heavenwards until I was touching the face of God with the very tip of my nose.
Spin me again, please. I don't like it before, but I do like it now, so spin me again, please. Up here, you can be proud to be British, and no left-wing people can tut at you. No one to admonish you for having a certain point of view. No one accusing you of culturally appropriating a Moroccan because you're wearing a fez, even when you'd only gone as Tommy Cooper. Sometimes wonder why we bothered winning the war.
If you're scratching your head wondering why Simon Denton is sitting on the sofa, do not adjust your set.
It does look odd.
Simon is here to introduce his very first item, perhaps the shape of things to come.
Well, just a one-off. He's on holiday on the sofa, but he lives at the Digi-Wall.
Simon.
Now, when one pensioner's local cinema closed, his plans for a birthday movie were scuppered. That was until his friends decided to step up and reenact his favourite Hitchcock film, Rear Window. I went along to take a look. And action!
And we're off.
Oh, that was so good. That was great.
It was good for you, mate. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's grainy black and white. Is that to look a bit...
Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's lovely, yeah. I mean, Rear Window's in colour, of course, but I don't think that matters one bit. So how did this land in your lap?
I just mentioned it to Howard and he said, yeah, give it a go.
Yeah. Great. You know, you can always talk to me about work stuff like we agreed, mate.
Yeah.
Quick shot of you nodding.
It's just an edit point.
Edit point?
I've been here a while. I'm starting to learn how things work.
Are you?
Here comes a good bit.
Excuse me. Tiff, you're not gonna... We've got to take a rain check on Cornwall.
Oh.
I know. I got a couple of Japanese business associates flying in from Japan to possibly invest in the blooming production company, so...
What business associates?
John Kawasaki and John Suzuki. Yeah.
John Yamaha couldn't make it.
I suppose they are both named after Japanese motorcycle brands. No, I tried to move it, but I said, John's, could you make it any other weekend? But they said, no can do. No can do. Yeah, I know, Japanese, because the way they do talk in a slightly funny way. You shouldn't really laugh.
Japanese. Don't dick me about.
Places, people, and we're back in 5, 4.
Ah, Simon Denton reporting there. Didn't he do a good job?
And they were so welcoming, not just Annie Arnold at number 10, but all her neighbours on Davenport Close in Kirkstall. A real community.
Oh, lovely.
Are you allowed to give out someone's name and address like that on camera? I'm not sure.
Don't know.
Right, I shouldn't have assumed you knew. It's just that when you've been here a while, you learn how things work. Yeah, we're all right.
Our apologies there, just for a slight slip-up. It's live TV, we all have our moments.
He doesn't have all this problem, but he just sticks to the jokes.
I had the VT to...
Can't you do both?
No time, mate.
We want a giggle.
Give us a break.
I did, remember? I'm outside the University of West Sussex, and in their computer science department, they're developing some of the most advanced robotics anywhere outside of America and China and Germany and Japan.
Also Singapore.
Love these guys. Electric lady. Nice. This droid, what's it capable of?
That's just the coffee machine.
Got it. Is this a coffee machine?
No.
Could be.
Doesn't make coffee. So this is the unit here. It's a fully electronic, torque-controlled quadruped. We foresee a lot of uses in the industrial cleaning sector, as well as around the home.
Yeah, it's quite a noisy little, I want to say chap, not quite sure what to call it.
Her nickname is Lady.
Yeah, I don't really do nicknames. Can you switch it off, please? I asked you to turn it off, please. Sorry, love. Oh. I've got to say, I remain something of a skeptic. Call me a Luddite. I don't even have a tease made, let alone a computerized Japanese toilet like Jonathan Ross. I've thrown a heavy towel over Alexa. Nevertheless, the nerds here have allowed me to take this robot dog home. Its name is Unit 1.
Not Lady. First, I wanted to put it through its paces, and with 4 legs powered by 4 servo motors, it's a robot with as much bite as bark. Not the quietest droid, but with a top speed of a nifty 6, it's quick enough to outrun anyone with a mobility issue. But are we ready for robots? Could you trust this face? Look at it.
The idea of robotics isn't new. Aristotle wrote about automata replacing slavery in 322 BC. That's 3 centuries before Christ.
Allow me to put that in context. But you just did.
Well, and then there was Buddhist scholar Dao Xuan, who imagined metal humanoid automata that could recite sacred texts.
So the appearance of being intelligent, but actually just the ability to read out loud.
Precisely.
Hugh Edwards.
But what if doing no harm involves moral ambiguity? Take self-driving cars. What if swerving to avoid hitting someone on the road involves mounting the curb and hitting someone else? How does the robot decide whom to harm and whom to save?
Good use of the word whom, but it is a dilemma. If a robot car was hurtling towards a pregnant woman pushing a pram, of course, it would swerve to avoid her, even if it meant hitting another pedestrian. But what if that pedestrian was a senior politician, like Grant Shapps? Now you've put that robot in an impossible situation.
Well, there's also the issue of automatons serving us in a range of different ways, some of them in perhaps more intimate ways.
Do you mean sex robots?
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's weird, because I don't think I've thought about that before. But do you think that would be all right, then, to do that?
Well, it's a question that's never been addressed.
Because there could be for women, too. Just be a case of adapting an existing unit.
But perhaps a more complex issue is how to manage an emotional connection. You could imagine a robot one day providing the same companionship a dog might.
My dog would be a hard act to follow.
Yes, some people do form strong emotional attachments with their dogs.
Not like me and Seldom. He passed on a couple of weeks ago. I was actually at a fun fair. 1 minute he was barking at the waltzers, the next minute he was, as I thought, asleep next to the ghost train, funnily enough. But no, he'd... Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Ah, yeah, he was a big fella, yeah, but I tell you, he showed a damn sight more sensitivity than half the people on this planet.
Well, that's the thing with these moral dilemmas. I think it's...
He used to stand on his hind legs and put his paws on his shoulders and then just dance around the room. Yeah, yeah. I miss him. He's a really, really good dog. And there we have it, a brief but fascinating exchange between Jenny Gresham and the Princess Royal. Plenty to unpack. We learned Her Royal Highness is, in her words, very well and pleased that she could be here. She went on to describe her duties as varied and talked about her affection for her family. Good, solid stuff.
Now, though, it's time to hear from you at home as we ask for your thoughts on what the future holds for Britain's favourite family. Of course, we've also been asking for your encounters with royalty, and don't forget to share your tips on modern-day etiquette. Keep those coming in. And tomorrow, should we scrap HS2?
Jesus Christ.
Well, we do need to hear viewers.
Why? Why do we need to hear from the viewers? Tell us what you think, join the conversation, get involved, share your views. Is it snowing where you are? Do you like fireworks? What's your favourite soup? Who gives a shit?
Excuse me, apologies for the language there.
Michael Gove said we've had enough of experts. Do you know who I've had enough of? Idiots.
I'm not sure I'd call our audience idiots.
Look at the tweets, Jenny. I mean, read the mailbag. Everyone at the BBC thinks it. They never say it publicly, of course, but behind closed doors. Whispered in the corridors, that's where you hear the truth. They think Countryfile is boring, they don't understand darts, and they don't really care about your opinion.
The BBC is committed to letting ordinary people have their say.
There's nothing in between. It's either BBC4 Live from the Hay on Wye Book Festival, or other people telling us they think dogs are better than cats. You feel like throwing open your windows and saying, I am hopping mad and I want something in the middle.
Are you finished?
Julian Fellows. I don't like Julian Fellows.
What's that got to do with your argument?
Nothing. I just don't like him.
Well, I'm sure, Simon, we have plenty of viewers getting in touch with their royal stories.
Well, actually, we're getting people shouting Alan's slogan from their windows and tweeting in to let us know. Let's see, we've got Bournemouth, I'm hopping mad, I just want something in the middle. Southend, I'm hopping mad, I want something in the middle. Same with Warrington, I'm hopping mad, something in the middle. Hull.
I've tossed a nerve. Anything from London?
Nothing from London, no.
Well, we're in London. Let's go and have a look. Terry, come with me. Simon, do you want to come?
No.
I'm sorry I clouted you.
It's all right.
Everyone, go to your windows, open your windows, and just shout out at the top of your voice. I'm hopping mad and I want something in the middle. This way. Follow me, sorry. I can hear them now. Okay. Keep shouting. Keep shouting. Hey, you. Say that again. Say the whole thing. Right, so you get that. Cheers. Cheers! Good. They're all saying it. Hey, yeah, all right, whatever. Fucking idiot. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Anyone else hopping mad who just wants something in the middle? No, we can't count you twice. Anyone else? Any more? No? I mean, that's 3 people. They say for every person who complains, there's another 20 who silently agree, so that's 60 people in this area at least. Minimum. You roll that out across the country, it's got to be 1 million.